Should I put?
Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Bogey Bro Banter.
No, wait. Hunter and I are all. Are you going to be?
I got Silas said he might do it
I know.
too.
Should I put the parlay in now though, or should I wait?
No, I
We
think
have
we
to do
wait.
it together, but we're all tossing huge parlays down.
Are we doing the same parlay?
No, huge is in like there's gonna be like 100
Yeah,
legs.
I don't know what a parlay is.
It's just a bet.
I thought that was
How does
pirate code.
Silas know a parlay
It's
and you
when
don't?
you're playing
Silas
Pirates of
likes
the Caribbean.
football.
When
Silas
you're,
likes
No.
he
Silas
doesn't.
did not
What?
know who was in the Super Bowl.
I thought Silas liked football.
I think he likes football, but I don't think he follows it.
No,
No, yeah, he doesn't
didn't
follow
know
it, but
who
he
was in
understands football.
Well, I know
Well, his brother
less,
played college.
Yeah,
I know way less about
understands
football than Silas does. If that tells
a
you anything.
parlay is when you take bets and you string them together, so they all have to hit in order for the big bet to hit.
But the odds get
So the odds get
Gotcha.
bigger.
crazy.
So you can bet like a $10 parlay that has like no chance of winning, but if it does, you'll win like
Easiest
$10,000.
way, I bet you $1 that this quarter lands heads. You would take that bet,
Okay.
right? But if I said I bet you $1 that this quarter lands heads twice in a row, the odds should be higher.
Gotcha. I
Because
understand.
It's less likely.
Can you turn him up in our ears?
Yeah, I sure can.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I can't even hear him. I don't
Oh,
know if
he's
his mic's
muted.
off.
Oh.
Yeah.
How about that?
Talk again?
I
Beautiful.
just
That's
gave
good.
off all the betting advice.
The only
I'll
thing, the
never
only time
tell
I've
you.
ever heard parlay was whenever it was a pirate talking to Keira Knightley.
Well, yeah, parlay is like when you get to speak to the captain, so they can't just kill you.
I
No,
only
parlay is what you just said. Actually, you're right.
Yeah,
it's when you
I
declare
always did
parlay.
when you're playing Pirates of the Caribbean pinball.
Yeah,
If you hit into,
everybody does that.
if you there was something where like if you went off the plank up top, you fell in and it like bounced around. If it spelt parlay, you got a bonus.
Nice.
That's
I don't
cool.
know if I want to get into like. I know for my parlay, I know I'm not going to pick anything that can lose before the first half ends. Like,
Yeah, I think it needs to all
I'm
be able
not
to
gonna-
hit in the fourth
I'm
quarter.
not
We
going to.
talked about that.
I'm not chucking
Should we
in
do
a
a side
coin
butt?
to-
Should we do a side butt?
Maybe we do two parlays. We
Should
do
we
a
do a
prop
side-
parlay where it's all like dumb stuff, like national anthem. Coin
That's what I was gonna
toss.
say. I kind of want something on the national anthem.
Yeah, and then we do
you
a
do
second
national
one
anthem time. So
where
you're
it's all
sitting there with a
game stuff.
stopwatch. Like,
Oh,
come on,
that's
come on,
funny.
hold the final note. Hold
That's
the final
really
note.
funny.
For that, I think you have to go somewhere weird.
No, it's in the sports book.
No,
They were talking about it.
They have stuff like that in the sports book.
Yeah, because they were talking about it on
There's some pretty
one of
weird
the
props
Barstool podcasts. I saw it. All right. Well, I had a prompt.
Yeah, what's up?
That's not okay. Don't worry. We're not gonna talk about carrots. All right. A carrot's not gonna derail this show.
That
Trevor's
was
back. We're gonna be saying.
last. What was the consensus
really
in the
like
comments
this
about
light-
last
this
podcast?
new light.
Because
Mainly Brodie's favor. Some people understood my side and said Brodie was an idiot, and then some people were in between. Both were like, "Yeah, y'all are both on different pages."
I
Which
just
is where I
expected
ended up.
all the comments to be like, "I'm never watching this ever."
Oh no, people
again."
loved it.
Wow.
I think.
Intriguing
back.
talk.
Well, we're not going to do it again.
No, we're not gonna do it again. You're never gonna see that again. No, this one It shouldn't even be a debate. It should just be a fun topic.
Bull
Someone
crap,
else-
dude.
Oh, yeah, man.
No. So the Winter Olympics are on, right?
Yeah.
And the Winter Olympics have some really weird sports.
Uh huh.
And I was watching them.
Name
and
one.
I was like, well, like for instance, luge. It's a fun one. Curling.
I don't think
Fun
Luke is
one.
weird.
Curling is
Bobsledding
Some of
is
the like
kinda
ski
weird.
and snowboard ones I've never seen.
The weirdest one,
You're
in
just
my
saying there's
opinion,
sports that never happen and you don't pay attention to until the winter.
Exactly. Yeah. But what
the
my
one where
prompt
they
is
ski cross country and shoot at targets.
yeah,
Love that.
biathlon.
Biathlon. Sick event.
That's so cool.
But
Very
some
hard.
of them seem like it wouldn't take much. Like it'd take a lot of skill, but not a lot of athletic skill, if that makes sense.
like when you're just steering a sled.
So I want to know, which Winter Olympic sport do you think that you have the best bet to make it to the
Oh,
Olympics
that's
in?
Oh
phenomenal.
my gosh.
I actually
The
had
best-
this
best
exact
chance.
I
Obviously,
had
none of us
this
are making
thought
it to
the
it,
other
but-
day.
Can I
Which
get like a
one?
list?
I had this thought the other day that I was like,
Yeah, I need to
if
look up
I,
the
from the
list. Yeah, me
time
too.
I was little, dedicated my life essentially to like luge, for example, was what I was thinking. How many, like, what are my chances? Like, if I have the money and resources to train
Yeah.
it, and like that's what I do, and I'm like an okay athletic person, but how many kids are doing that in the U.S.? Now, obviously, it's a lot more competitive in other countries.
Well,
but
but
what are my chances? Like compared to
Well, also like the bobsled team. There's like 3 guys, right?
4.
Yeah.
4 guys. Aren't some of them just responsible for getting the thing up to speed?
Pushing, yes.
like
So you
there's
just push and jump
yeah,
in.
that's how.
Like if I can get fast enough to push,
track-
I don't think that's one I could do. But if you can get fast enough to push and
Yeah.
jump in, you just sit for the ride.
There
like,
was
that's
a
fun.
women's track athlete, Lolo
Lolo
Jones.
Jones.
She ran track and then she got on the bobsled team doing that, being the
Yeah.
person who ran behind it. And pushed.
One of them that I think is on the table here. I think I'm too scared of heights, so I can never do it. But the like ski high jump one, long jump one.
Are
Yeah.
you out of your
No,
mind?
no, I thought I was. But look, you're in a track. Your ski
Yeah.
can't. So
You
all
have
it
to
is.
land.
Yeah, that's the hardest part though. You just extend.
The whole part.
That is a very difficult.
You
whole
extend down.
That is right now.
No, I'm saying,
my
like, I'm saying how
reaction
hard
is
it is
shocked.
to
But also
I don't
the
think I
core
could do it.
strength that you have to
I don't think
have
I could do it.
to
Control
stay
yourself in
the
air.
But I'm saying
like,
compared to
stay in-
other Olympic sports, that one seems like one where
No.
it's.
I'm not gonna lie.
That
You
one
gotta-
has the biggest barrier of entry of like.
I was on board with you at first. I remember you said that they don't require a lot of athleticism. Now I'm looking at the full
Well, no,
list.
you have curling.
And they all are. The only one is
Bobsled,
curling.
luge.
Bobsledding still requires a lot of
Oh, my
skill and
goodness.
but
athleticism.
I said
Well, they
which
also
one is like the
memorize the
lowest.
course.
Go ahead and
which
check
one's
out-
the lowest? Like you.
Go ahead and
the
check out the
drivers-
POV.
I mean, it have to be curling because curling is like
Sure.
the one where like you don't have to like you don't have to spend your whole life.
But you got to see what I mean with the ski one. You're in a track. So essentially, if you can
You're
land,
gonna get off the hill, but then you're
That's what
gonna
I'm
be
saying.
a
Is
pancake.
if you can
You
land,
might.
if you were decent at skiing, you could be able to do it.
No.
Yeah. How? If you could land, if you could do ski jumps. Like watching Shaun White on a snowboarding
But
half
flying
pipe, I'm like,
through the
there's no
air-
chance I could ever on earth
I think
do
it's
that.
a lot
Flying through
harder
the air
to
and
keep
having
yourself
con-
in control in the air than you think it is.
Yes, flying through the air and keeping
It
yourself.
looks
from,
the simplest.
if
I'll give you that.
If
Because
you
like
zoom in and see
Well, okay,
them,
what-
their body
I also will
is
say this:
moving.
when I
Sure.
compare that to them when I watch the downhill skiers and they're going like 100 miles an hour.
Exactly.
It looks a heck
That's
of a
what
lot
I'm
easier
saying.
than
That's
that.
what I'm saying. It's like when you're looking at
It's
the
the
other
easiest
ones.
ski event.
Exactly.
I'll give you that.
Exactly.
I'll give you that.
That's what I'm saying.
Literally, it's curling and the two guys that are pushing for the bobsled. Because the back guy, they all push, but the back guy does brakes, and you have to know when to use the brakes.
Curling is-
The
But
front guy
again,
knows how to
learning
skill in
learning when to do.
curling.
I'm not saying you're doing this tomorrow. I'm saying you start right now and you could train.
Most of the skill in curling is knowing the angles, like when to throw what shot.
Because like bobsled,
that's what makes you a good curler.
knowing when to brake, that wouldn't take years of experience. It would take, you'd have to like dedicate yourself for maybe a few years. You wouldn't have to like start
I don't
skiing
know,
to be
like-
Shaun
I'm saying
White level
bobsled and
snowboarding.
curling are the only two on here where it's like you could theoretically get really good by just practicing a lot.
Because like Shaun White snowboarding,
Right, you don't know,
right?
like,
You're gonna
natural.
need to be doing it since you're a little kid.
Everything else is you have to be actually athletic to do.
Sure,
yeah.
that wasn't my question either.
Luge, you have to be psychotic.
Yeah, but
That's what I'm saying,
I'm
like,
just saying
what
like
is going
skill
on?
wise.
Skeleton,
What is-
skeleton? You have to be an absolute
Is that the one you lay down by yourself?
face forward?
Luge is
Oh,
feet
face forward.
first. Yeah,
Luge is
skeleton.
feet forward.
I much prefer. I will say I was talking about this with somebody
People die
the
in
other
the
day.
luge and skeleton.
I
all the
much
time.
prefer the Winter Olympics to the Summer Olympics. I think the Winter because the Winter Olympics sports are more ones that you don't see as often, and so I feel like they're so much more entertaining to me.
I disagree. Well,
Track and
I
field
like
is just
I like the snowboarding ones. I
I
also saw one for the
summer.
first time
I
last
really
night.
enjoy swimming a lot. I really enjoy
That
the track
just doesn't
and field.
sound like fun to me.
But watching it,
Yeah, it's-
watching swimming's thrilling.
It's
I would much rather
electrifying.
watch a guy fly down a snowy hill at like 100 miles an hour.
well,
I like
the
the
ski
downhill
high
skiing.
jump one, for instance.
I think the
Yeah.
summer has more
that's fun
variety that I
to
like.
watch like three people jump.
Yeah.
I was watching it for like 20 minutes and I got so bored because
I
I'm
think
like,
there's
Do you know the-
same thing,
there's
same
so many-
thing,
yeah.
same thing.
Do you know the one that goes vertical though? Have you seen that one too?
Probably, I don't know.
So
I haven't watched
the one you're
Olympics.
talking about is just like distance.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
an-
yeah.
there's a
another
vert
where
one?
you just go
Oh, I didn't know
down
that.
and then it goes up.
Oh,
and
that's
then you do
a
tricks.
snowboarding.
What I
though.
used to
It's
get
more
the
stuff.
most
skiing.
Winter Olympics.
I saw that
for
in
me
X
was
Games
always
with
about the
snowboarding.
hockey,
I think that's
though.
free.
And
that's
with,
free
Is that
skateboarding.
skiing.
freestyle skiing?
Yeah, freestyle skiing.
And X Games did it with skateboarding.
Hockey used to
I
be the
do
reason
lo-
I got
I do
pumped
like
for
the
winter,
X
and
Games
now
a
they don't
lot.
have the pros there, so now I'm bummed out about the hockey.
Mm.
Because like the summer too, I feel like if I'm flipping through the Winter Olympics, just looking for the random sports in the middle of the day, I'm gonna run into a lot of very similar ones. Like it's gonna be skiing, snowboarding, like a lot of stuff most of it takes place on snow seemingly. Whereas in the summer, I can go from beach volleyball to badminton to golf to handball. Like it seems
Fencing.
like you can just jump all around.
Well,
I feel like.
the one I saw last night that I'd never
Although
seen.
indoor volleyball is winter.
The one I saw last night. No, it's not. It's summer.
Winter's literally anything you do when it's cold.
The
None of these you're doing when it's
because
warm
then
out.
basketball would be winter.
You're right.
These are
yeah,
all
basketball
cold sports.
and volleyball. Are, yeah,
The Summer Olympics is much bigger.
I just think it's fun to watch people do things that I don't watch all the time. You know what I mean?
That's the Summer Olympics
yeah,
too.
I just named sports that
you
I
watch
don't.
pole vaulting all the time?
You watch track and field all the
Yeah.
time?
Javelin?
I don't know if there's an
Swimming?
example.
Literally just basketball.
Yeah, I don't know if there's really. I don't really know if that works out.
I just think the snow ones are more exciting.
I saw
Okay,
one last
that's valid.
night.
That's valid.
I saw one last night I'd never seen before, which was essentially like it was almost like a motocross track.
With the
With
snowmobiles?
snowboarding.
Oh,
was
like
like a-
snowboard cross.
Maybe.
Where
it was
they
like,
race.
But this is like the time trial one, so it's only one person on the. But they were talking about how there's gonna be everyone's on the track at once, and that sounds fascinating.
It's one of the most. That's one of the best.
Because they were like pumping over these hills, and it was just a time trial, and they're like trying to get it, and like cruising through curves. I was like, this would be fascinating if there was like 15 people on the track.
So usually
right
there's
now.
like 5, I think, in snowboard cross, and they literally will run into each other. Like I remember one of the most way back when Hannah Teeter was like the name of like the really good U.S. woman, and I think what happened is like on the last jump, like 2 people collided and fell, and then like the person in third like got ahead and won.
Well, they were saying that like
snowboard cross.
There's
is
a lot
awesome.
of strategy because they were saying like time trial. They were just trying to qualify. I don't think there was really an advantage of like being first or whatever on qualifying. But they said like race day, there's some athletes that like being the person in the front and like so they avoid it. But there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that like being like third, fourth, to where they're drafting the whole race. And then try to climb at the end, and they like being in the mix. And so they were talking about like this one girl. She was 0.8 seconds off the time last night, in the time trial. And they're like, she's one who loves being in third place because she loves just drafting the whole race, and then at the end launching in front.
That is one of my favorite winter events. I also like the winter because the U.S. is actually an underdog a lot more because
shellacked right now.
Norway kills everybody.
They were on. They showed the top 10 medal counts, and U.S.
So like when we won last time,
how do you think the medal counts should be counted? Are you guys gold medals or bust? Or are you guys total medal counts?
Gold medal. I think whoever wins the most gold medals is definitely the top dog. However, if it's a significant difference. Like if we have
I'm a gold
someone
medal
has
bust.
10 gold medals, 2 silver, 1 bronze.
I like
another team has 3 gold, 15 silver.
I think
5
bronze should be worth 1. It should be like 1-3-5 system for points.
I would go like
because I think the gold is weighted, or maybe it's even like 1-3-7.
I'd go like 7 or 10.
Yeah, because
to me, like if you won 15 golds and nothing else, and someone else won 3 golds and then a bunch of silver and bronze, I'm like,
right. I think it's kind of almost like a case by case. It seems like, because like that'll
every country does it differently though.
Yeah, people count the medals differently.
So like when you go
to help their own countries.
Yeah, like the U.S. right now, they just go straight by gold.
It's usually like U.S. versus China in the summer is where that happens. But I think it's U.S. China.
Yeah, other countries when you go to their site and see like their medal count, they'll have them at the front because they'll do like total if it puts them higher.
It is
a little,
dicey.
See, like doing like total medal count and trying to claim you are the best by total medal count just makes you feel like, oh, you kind of lost.
Well, a lot of times it's like, oh, congrats, you have more athletes to come from your country.
Congrats, you came in second. Congrats, you lost better than the other losers more often.
I will say though, getting on the Olympics is the one event of the year where like just getting on the podium is such a big deal.
Well, that's what I would hate.
That's also F1, right? Not bringing up F1.
We're back.
But
gosh, that's a cheer too.
But could you imagine? Could you imagine if like disc golf decided that, of where now first, second, and third are all?
Well, it would be like if disc golf was at the Olympics, because like the golf event at the Olympics. It's such a rare opportunity to even play golf at the Olympics. Like, so that if you win, like I think Schauffele won a bronze medal. Xander Schauffele. That is like, how many guys on tour can say they have a bronze medal? None, except for him.
But what if disc golf just started doing that?
Like Justin Rose won the gold. Like that is a huge flex.
But what if they start doing that though for disc golf is like start having a podium?
It would only matter if it was an every once per 4 years event though.
F1 does it every event. F1 literally does it every event, and literally they'll be like,
I think that's
if
a
you
nature.
go from fourth to third. This is what's crazy is like they're literally celebrating third.
Well, because it's all about points. It's all about the constructors' championship.
But
F1 is a bit
the
unique.
points isn't that the points don't go up. It's podium. The fact that you're on the podium.
There might be a podium bonus. I could be wrong there.
The podium is huge because that's what they all care about. Is like, this is my first podium.
I guess the only way you're going to make that matter. The only way you're going to make it matter in disc golf is if it's an event that only happens barely ever, so it's such a big deal to get.
Why can't you do it every event?
Well, then you're going to have to make it so that the top 3. You have to make those places. You have to make them care. So you'd have to make it so that the top 3 places. Well, that doesn't.
And you get on a podium.
That does happen in disc golf.
And you get to do the champagne.
The champagne's silly.
What would make it count is if
they
the
do
top
announce
3
the top
spots
3.
pay out heavy.
They announce the top 3?
Yeah, you never been to an award ceremony? At Worlds, they hand the second place a trophy.
Where's their award ceremony at Las Vegas Challenge?
You leave too early.
You must leave early, yeah.
There's an award ceremony at Las Vegas Challenge?
The player doesn't just get a random... Like, sometimes they present the trophy. If there's only a first place trophy, they'll present it at the...
Thank you.
Oh, she's saying something. Yeah, the sink's in the back right here.
Oh, perfect.
There's an award ceremony at pretty much every event.
Yeah.
But there's some, like the Preserve, they have just the bear for first place. So that person, they only get first place. But Worlds, first, second, third
It's
get
so-
trophies.
Okay, but you're saying Worlds. I'm talking about just normal.
In every
Elite
event,
Series
you
events.
The
Ledgestone,
only way you're gonna-
first, second, third. Glass blown, first, second, third.
When do they do those?
The
at?
award ceremony.
When is that?
After everything's
You're
done.
already gone by then.
Yeah, everyone
peaced
gathers.
out.
Tea time is
Yeah,
too early.
if you're not on a lead card and you didn't finish in first, second, or third, you're out of it.
Do they have like a? Because I know USC
Trevor just said your tea time is too early.
No, it's respectable. I've just never heard or seen photos or.
Well, 'cause
I mean,
he
I
was
gotta be-
posting about second place.
I got to be honest. I wouldn't care unless I won to be there.
All of Paul's
The
second
only way
place
you're going to
trophies he
make them
kept in
care,
boxes in like storage.
the only way you're going to make them
But he
care
has
is
them.
if the drop off of payment is like significant after third, or if it were way harder to get in the top three. But right
you will
now,
you'll talk about players like have X amount of top three finishes, because that's what sucks about like when you like first, second, and third place don't really give speeches. Sometimes they do.
when I
like,
think
thanking their
about podium
sponsors.
sports, like podium finishes mattering in sports, I think about events where it is just like so hard to get on the podium, like the Olympics. Like literally, you have to say you're a top three in the world at what you do.
every 4 years.
Every 4 years, right? Whereas like even F1, like I guess I get it because racing is really
But it's
competitive.
even crazier because there's only 20 people competing. So literally, you
Yeah.
only have to beat 16
I
people
I
to
would
get
like
to.
I don't.
F1, I think, is
Because
more about points. That's because that's what the companies care so much about the constructors championship
also
and
think
trying to
that-
be in the top echelon of that. That there's like the top teams and then there's like the middle teams, and like they're literally like called. I forget what they're called, but like if you're a middle team, your goal is to be the like fourth place, the top of the middle teams. So if you get into a podium, you're considered like we finished with the big guys this time because their
You
team's
probably get.
different.
I'm sure you get a bonus because like you're standing up on that podium.
I think
on camera
F1
with
gives
all
money
your
bonuses more
sponsors
than
all over the place.
More than because like each race, I think there's podium bonuses money wise for the companies.
To everyone.
I think the podium would be
first, second,
in
third.
disc
No,
golf.
to everyone in the company.
No, to the company
So-
itself.
But
that's
so,
how
like, if
F1
you're
makes
like a-
money.
Yeah, but if you're like a little engineer in F1, you're getting a bonus for getting on the podium. in the
No,
tournament.
you're
You get
rooting
like a
because your
Starbucks
company.
Starbucks gift
going
card.
nuts.
'Cause
Like a
your
Starbucks
company-
gift card.
Because your company is like getting more money. You're being successful.
But you
if
directly aren't getting more money.
No.
Indirectly though.
Okay, if you're like if you.
I'm just saying.
That's like
I
saying
think
if
there's
you
more,
rode
but
the bench the entire
No,
time at
my
the
point
Lakers,
is
you're still excited when they
my
win.
point too is there's more to get. Like I think there actually is excitement to getting on the podium, not just we get a bonus and money
But
to
that's-
the company.
Yes, but I
Why
think
else
part
do
of the
you
reason
care?
is because of that. If the podium was nothing more than you stand there as the third place
And get a trophy.
no one would
Nobody
care. It's because of other stuff that like the company
No,
makes
you get
care.
to get on the podium. What?
Whoop-de-doo.
So if you
I
finish in
sure
third
wouldn't
place, you're
care.
excited just because there's a podium to stand
Yeah,
on
put
now.
yourself in their shoes. Like you just get
Because
to go
they
stand
put-
up on
At
a
the Battle for
podium.
Bedford, I'm gonna get a wooden platform. Nothing else is changing. And when Brodie comes in third, I'm be like, dude, podium
that
finish.
podium, man.
If
Like,
they
no, you don't care about that.
then why do they have people? Why do they know?
I think
the
in racing,
stats
it's
of
kind
how
of like
many-
a tradition, though.
That's what I'm saying. Is if you make it a thing that makes.
Do you actually think? Are you playing devil's advocate,
think-
or do you want there to be podiums at every disc golf event?
I think in disc golf it's stupid.
Okay,
but,
thank you. Because I think it sounds so cheesy to me
But
in disc
my
golf.
point is, I'm arguing with Hunter in the sense that I don't think it's just a money thing because.
Why are you arguing with me?
Yeah,
Trevor
man.
made the same point.
Yeah, but you just brought up the last thing. So I'm saying
Punk.
Because you're a debate night co-host.
drivers will literally say like, "This is my third podium." So like,
Drivers
they
are on
actually
salary.
They keep track of how many podiums they've made. If it wasn't like
Yeah,
an
I don't-
important thing, it's just another way of.
I guess it's
you
just
got
a-
wins.
It's important.
And then you got podiums.
It's important because teams put emphasis on
Then
it
you got-
because it makes them more money.
Yeah.
So as a driver, if I have
gotta-
X amount of podium finishes,
I gotta,
I'm worth more to
I
the
gotta
next
agree
company.
with that. I
Sure.
imagine it has a lot to
If
do
I'm
with
an
their bonus
engineer
structure.
and I'm a team of someone who if I'm a team of McLaren and we keep getting podiums, and it's because I'm a part of that engineering team, I am now worth more to the industry. Because I can be like, yeah, I was a part of a team that had 3 podium finishes.
Sure. Indirectly, yes. I was just saying
Yeah.
directly though, like when you get on podium.
The indirectly
for
is
the first
why
time,
that matters.
I don't think if you talk to an engineer that they've been sucking the whole circuit, the whole race season, and they get on one podium, I don't think if you like literally interviewed that being like, why are you so excited right now? He would be like, because my company is now going to get more money because we got a
of course
podium.
not.
Well, they're not going to say that. That's like saying,
But I'm
"Hey,
saying
Ricky,
that
why are you
is-
excited about Worlds?" Well, I'm just excited because of the bonus
it's the
structure.
same
I'm
thing with
getting.
the cash
That
out.
is a lot of the reason he's excited, but he's not going to say it.
But there's no, like a player also is not going to be excited about cashing in disc golf and making $300. They're going to be excited that the fact of
well, if
just
you're in the
Some
top
players
3,
are.
yeah. It's like
my point is like when you have those like different segments of like cashing is like cashing versus uncashing to some people it doesn't really matter about making 300 or not.
Okay,
It's the
here's
fact
let me
that
ask you
can
this.
Say that you cash.
Let me ask you this: if there
And
was,
you weren't
if
like a
nothing in disc
non-casher.
golf changed, but there's a podium to stand on now for first, second, third,
And everyone made a big deal about it
but why is everyone making a big
why are
deal
they
about
making
it?
a big deal about it?
What makes them make a big deal?
because everyone starts if you do something where you start talking about it, you're taking photos.
But what
It's-
makes
Why
it a
are
big
they-
deal?
why are they
in-
doing
it's
that?
in the end of
Why does anyone care though? Is my thing. Why would anyone care about that?
Right.
If there was no bonus, there was no advantage
gonna
other than
make-
there's
Oh,
a
you're
wooden
saying
thing.
there's no money involved?
Well, not different than what's normal.
Directly, but indirectly there will always be. I'm saying if there was no direct thing of like if you make third place,
Yeah.
don't act like I'm saying stupid stuff. If there was
I don't need
no-
to act.
If there was
you
no-
don't make any sense right now.
I'm saying if there was no direct thing of saying, hey, you got third place, so you get
Sure.
a bonus from your sponsors or whatever.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But because you got third place, you are now on a podium. You're now
Sure.
at an award ceremony. You're now at the end of Jomez credits. You're now at all this other stuff with the exposure. And everyone was like, how many podiums do you have? How many podiums do you have? That
But
was
why
something that
is-
was talked about.
two things.
Then you can use that to say, hey, this is how much I've done. It's the same thing as lead cards. Lead cards are stupid then.
What?
Well, one
Getting on lead card is stupid then.
Well, no,
it's the same exact
one is
thing.
going to put you on a full round of coverage. One's going to
No,
be like
the
5
first,
minutes
the
standing on top of a
multiple things that
block
you
after
said,
you
like
lost.
if this happened,
but
already happening.
But if the so you're saying the time now.
well,
The
lead,
time of getting on podium.
lead card
is less
also,
than
yeah,
lead
like Hunter
card.
said, lead card is also like
So if
something
you
that's
go lead
already
card
going
and
to
you just
happen.
blow up and you play terrible and you don't even finish in the top 10.
Yeah, I think you're upset that you're even ever on lead card at that point.
But
I'm
saying
trying to
people
understand your point.
People value how many times they've been on lead card, right? They'll literally say like, I've been on lead card this many times.
I've heard people say I've been on Jomez coverage this many times.
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
think.
or that.
Sure,
But they
but
use that-
there's
they
something
use
to
that-
reason you value
They
it.
use that to value.
They don't value it if Jomez and there wasn't a big lead card coverage.
Mm-hmm.
What does lead card mean? You care about where you finish.
So your whole argument is
But my thing
banking on
is
people
if
caring
you're
about
on
the
the
podium.
there's going to be a lot of coverage about that.
But my thing is, people
there?
their first, second, third place
You
already
wouldn't-
happens.
We wouldn't say who made podium if they
No,
became
we
a
would just
deal?
say the top 3. Why would it become a big deal? How?
That's what I'm saying. The
So
thing that
a
makes it a
tournament-
big
When
deal.
a tournament ends, you literally just say what the winner who won, and you don't say who got second.
What?
Right now.
No, we
No,
still
we say
talk
first,
about the
second,
top
third.
3, but like, why does the podium matter? Why does a podium change anything?
The thing that makes a podium matter is there's something that makes the podium matter, like money, a bonus, something like that.
yeah, like I don't.
If not, people don't care. It's just a podium. The awards, first, second, third, already happening, and you don't hear anything about it because there's no benefit to it yet.
Yeah, there's no
I think
point.
my whole argument is the fact. I don't even know what we're really arguing at this point.
I don't either.
I'm just saying.
You're saying that people are going to care about a
but you're
podium
even saying
just because
that
it's a
is
podium.
happening right now.
Yeah,
Of
and
where
no one
first,
cares about it
second,
because there's
third.
no bonus behind it.
Well, I mean, how many people still show up to like even Worlds? If you go to Worlds, they did the award ceremony pretty quickly after, and that was a pretty ridiculous thing. There weren't that many people there.
This
Exactly.
whole thing started because
People don't even care about the award
this whole
ceremony
thing
to
started
begin
because
with.
I was saying the podium at the Olympics is the only podium I would think would matter because you get to take something away from that event. And it was so hard to do that, and it only happens once every 4 years, and you'll probably never have another chance at it in your life.
And then you brought up F1,
And
and
then
I was
you're-
saying the reason the podium matters in F1 is because of the bonus that companies get for being on the podium and the point structure.
Right. I did, like the presence of a
The
podium.
podium
it's
itself
just
means
symbolic,
nothing.
So the
yeah.
money is the reason. The money that the drivers and teams are getting.
The drivers
is-
don't get any money. The
The
drivers are on
only-
salary.
Okay, the money that the teams are getting is why the fans. If there wasn't money,
No.
the fans wouldn't care about their team getting on podium.
Correctly, because the teams put emphasis on the podium
Right.
because
That's
the
why
teams
the
are getting
fans
money.
care.
So the
It all
teams and everyone
starts with the
care
players.
because it all starts with in F1. It all
So
starts with the company.
Could that happen in disc golf?
Yes.
If there was a bonus or
So
something
let's say
to the
this. Let's say
podium.
this. Let's say top 3 next year. The Pro Tour says if you finish top 3, you stand on the podium and you're getting a huge money bonus. Like the payout's way heavy for the top 3, and you're getting a huge points bonus for the Pro Tour. Then what's going to happen
But
is the
doesn't
players
that already exist?
No.
No, it doesn't drop off as steep. It would have to drop off so steep that 4th place and 3rd place, there's a huge difference.
Well,
because
essentially
getting
that's
to the
just going
podium,
to happen. You need a big. If the purses increase, then you
But
would have
what
that
would-
drop off.
but what would happen is the players would start carrying first.
No.
The players would start carrying first, and then the media would start carrying because the players care, and then the fans would start caring because the media is covering it. It's a trickle effect.
But there needs to be something to care about.
There has to be something for the players that actually care about.
If you
first.
just put a wooden block, someone who just came in 3rd and nothing else changed doesn't care.
And no,
they
I
don't
think
want to
there
be
would-
standing.
I
up
think
there.
there would have to be an
Isn't there already
exaggerated
stuff to
drop
carry
off.
about because there is a big point difference.
I think it would have to be
There's not.
exaggerated.
Between-
It's not a
there's
big-
not right now. Not between 3rd and 4th.
If you finish in
The
3rd and 4th,
percentage
you're talking.
the thing is the percentage for money is there's a big difference between the two. It's just the purses are so small.
But it's not any different between
that-
3rd and 4th and 4th and 5th.
Right,
and
that's
5th
the
and 6th
difference.
And 6th
It
and
has to
7th.
be a special drop off from 3rd
Oh,
to 4th.
they don't do. They don't have
No,
it.
that's like the
No.
difference between getting a bronze medal and no medal. There needs to be a difference between getting 3rd and 4th. That is so much different.
If you want people to care about it.
Yeah.
There needs to be
the
something to care
podium
about.
has to be like getting to the top of the mountain.
The podium needs to represent something for you to care about it.
Right.
Just a podium
It
does
has to
nothing.
be like, okay, 1st place 20K, 2nd place 15K, 3rd place 10K, 4th place 3K. Like it's got to be like the podium.
I guess my only thing is like.
But now we're talking
You're
about
saying-
wanting to win podiums instead of first places.
Well, you also have players that care about getting on lead card, so they'll literally do something that they probably wouldn't have done if they're trying to win the tournament. Like they'll try to throw.
there's bonuses for that,
they'll
isn't
try
there?
to
Isn't there? There's
In
league card
contracts.
bonuses
They'll
in
try
contracts.
to throw. Well, I know.
So it's money.
I'm saying they're trying to throw a shot in on hole 18
Yeah.
because they know if they make this 200-foot shot, they get it on lead card.
And they get a bonus.
So
yes, if they will do crazy things to get on a podium, if there is a bonus tied to it, that's the whole thing.
Yeah. But I think there is stuff in contracts of where if you get, I don't think it's just a first or.
No, it depends on the tier of the tournament.
I don't think it's just a first or bust though.
It
Probably
depends on
top
the tier of
fives,
the
top
tournament.
tens, maybe, but I don't know if top
You don't
three
think
right
there's
now.
a top 3 situation?
It depends on the contract
Not in
and
the
the
contracts
tier
that
of the
I've ever
tournament.
seen.
But then again, it's also your point of like who really cares if it's like you get 3rd place and you get $100, you get 2nd place.
It's
and
got to
you
be
get
steep.
$150.
There has to be such a difference in getting to that
So there's just
3rd
not
place.
enough money yet for the podium to work in disc golf.
I also should never happen.
that's
I
what
don't
we
think
decided.
there's any point to put an emphasis on 3rd place.
That's what we decided.
No, I think there should never be a podium in disc golf.
Great conclusion,
gonna-
everybody. That's
I'm
what we all
gonna-
decided. Podium and disc golf.
Podium in disc golf. But the thing is there is a podium in disc golf. So that.
Well, there's a podium in any sport that has more than 5 players. Because if you're
But
in the
you
top
said
3, you're in
you
the
said
podium.
you don't think there should be a podium in disc golf, but there is a podium in disc golf.
There's not a physical podium.
You brought up.
People aren't. My whole thing is like people aren't standing there like 3rd place, 3rd
Yeah.
place. Like that happens in F1
I mean,
because of the bonuses.
Just imagine, like you take
So
3rd.
now we're just talking about the actual structure.
That's what I was talking about the
there
whole
isn't a
time.
First place.
I was talking
Oh,
about
I wasn't talking about that.
I was saying like if you just add people standing on a podium, no one gives a rip right now because 3rd
No.
place doesn't mean anything.
I wasn't talking about you actually needed someone standing up a little higher than 2nd place.
I
and
was
someone
talking-
That's
standing-
literally I was talking about.
I wasn't talking about the structure. Neither
Yeah.
were you, really.
Well, I was
think
talking
you're
about like
the structure.
I was saying
The core of that
I wanted
argument.
to have a podium.
The
and people
core of that
stand.
argument was people caring about top 3.
Yeah.
exactly yes.
Right, that
But
was
when
the
I was
core of the
if I
argument.
used the word there's not a podium, I was talking about a physical podium at a tournament at the award ceremony. But the reason people would care about that podium
Yeah, I
would
mean, I was
be
more thinking about the essence of like.
Yeah,
the
I was thinking
podium.
more.
I
like
was
a
picked-
stage
but- well, it's 'cause I'm-
podium
I'm-
where people are going up on a stage all level.
See?
Okay.
But
It's
they're
the same
level.
thing I'm talking about.
there's not
They're all
that doesn't
equal.
matter that much.
I knew what
difference
I
between-
knew where
That's
Brodie
what
was coming from.
That's what F1 does.
No, they
It's
all
like level.
They're on a 1st, 2nd, 3rd,
I
and they
haven't seen
step. Then
that.
they step off of it and
Okay,
spray the
yeah,
champagne.
I haven't seen them standing on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd. I was talking about more.
That's what makes it a
like-
podium instead of a stage.
We are
You-
getting a podium for Battle for Bedford.
And I'm making Brodie, you're coming
There's
in
that
3rd, and I'm
podium.
forcing you to stand there and
Wait,
smile.
You have to come to the ceremony.
There's the most legit podium I've ever seen where I practice throw.
Oh, yeah.
It has like 7th place.
Where we did the
Oh,
first,
yeah,
second,
it's for
third,
cross country.
4th, 5th.
So we had one at the Commonwealth
7th.
Games.
7th is just a piece of plywood sitting on the grass.
It reminds me of like swim meets where it's like you got an 11th place ribbon. You're like,
Well, that's the thing though. Like when they usually like my siblings did competitive swimming. And
So many ribbons.
they don't break out the podium until you get to like districts because then you came in 8th, but you're 8th in the district. You're not just 8th. Like it's like in the Olympics. They don't break out the podium until you get to a big event like the Olympics to where you're not just taking 3rd. You're taking 3rd in the world.
Does anyone know if CrossFit has podiums?
They do
They
box
jump
jumps.
on 'em.
Yeah. So you're just on a podium every
Good
time
one,
you do a
guys.
box jump.
I think
CrossFit
there is a
jump.
podium.
That was a good collaborative joke right there.
I think there is a podium at the end of like
At the CrossFit
of
Games.
the main CrossFit one, but I'm wondering if there's podiums at like smaller events.
Is there smaller CrossFit events? Are we going to
there's
one?
Tons.
Have you ever watched the CrossFit Games? There's
Yeah.
documentaries
Yeah, I watch
on
it
them
every year.
They're awesome.
My
They're
one of
awesome.
my best friends was super into CrossFit,
The
and he like
stuff-
tried to get me
the
into
handstand
it by
push-ups?
watching it, and I didn't.
I've got a good
We used
friend
to do
who's
handstand
really into CrossFit, and he was talking to me about like the like small events that he attends for it, and the way that he was talking to me about it sounded very similar to how I talk to other people about disc golf.
That makes sense. CrossFit
Notice
and
how
disc
whenever
golf
I
might-
started talking, you guys all got on your phones. Like you didn't care.
I'm not on my phone.
I got a text.
I just can't see
I
Trevor's
feel
face.
like I have so much questions still with the podium.
I got a text from
I feel
someone. I
like
was just making sure. I read it.
CrossFit and
Yeah,
disc golf
it's
are
way
we
more
like on
important.
similar scales?
You don't know
No,
what my text
CrossFit's
said,
bigger.
okay?
You're right. I'm sorry.
Bigger.
You're about to be a father.
But I'm talking about
Could be
if you think
serious.
about like a local CrossFit event and a local disc golf event, and you think about like I think the highest end of CrossFit is bigger because like obviously Reebok gets involved because there's so
Well,
many.
there's also
people
so
that
many
do
more CrossFit people.
Right? But I'm saying like on the competitive scene, like
CrossFit's
the-
higher. Because well, what you just said was a perfect example. Like a local event in disc golf and a local event in CrossFit. A local event in disc golf, is there going to be anyone there that is like incredibly good at disc golf?
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe
usually there's somebody.
Maybe
It depends on the scene.
But if you go to like a local like C tier event, a lot of times
It would be the same as CrossFit.
Yeah, like well,
I don't-
if you think
I
about
think-
if you're talking about the scale of like the best CrossFitter and the best disc golfer compared to like, I don't know, it's probably got to
No,
be
it
somewhat
drops
similar.
down a little. Have you been to like a CrossFit gym though?
Yeah.
There's like a lot of people in
I
there.
used to do
that are
CrossFit.
all- There's very.
Like yeah, they're
There's very
beasts, but
few
like
people-
compare them to the top of the game. Like you're comparing them to
I
the
see
top
what-
of
I
disc
see what
golf.
you're saying.
Yeah, like there's
I
a
see
lot
what
of
you're
very
If you
good
go to
disc
you just go to a
golfers.
normal B tier, you're gonna see 1,000
It would
rated
be-
players.
it
I
would
see
be
what
like-
you're saying. You're saying
yeah.
like if you compared like the local CrossFitter to the top guy.
Yeah.
What
Are
you're
they
looking
called
at
CrossFitters?
probably. What you're looking at is
Fits.
what you're looking at is through the
See
lens
fits.
of if someone walked into a local
Yeah,
C tier,
brand new.
yeah, and watched a pro disc golfer, they'd be like, "Holy crap, this guy's incredible." But then when he played Paul Macbeth or even you or Jordan Cash or someone, they'd probably get beat. But the local person walking in just watching an event hasn't seen that top tier.
I think I'm just thinking about like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm thinking there's not too many like super casual CrossFitters of where they just like disc golf. There's a lot.
That's a good point. You
there's
don't
a
really
lot
you
of-
don't really do CrossFit casual.
There's a lot of casual
can't.
disc golfers
Yeah.
that play disc golf
That's
once a
very
week.
true. That's very
and they
true.
play when after work. There's not very many people that are like, yeah, I do CrossFit once a week.
It would be like a casual weightlifter.
It's kind of
Yeah, if
kind
you
of like
if
a
you do
cult.
Well,
if
like
you do
CrossFit-
CrossFit once a
Kinda
week,
culty.
if you do CrossFit once a week, you're not joining an event because
you're also
gonna
not-
get-
You're
gonna
also
get
not
laughed at.
doing CrossFit.
yeah,
really.
you're also being.
If you're gonna
Yeah.
like
CrossFit.
Yeah, but because like disc golf, if you play once a week after work, you would still maybe join
CrossFit is so
a local
scary,
tournament.
dude.
It's like two completely different things because
CrossFit was a
CrossFit
scary
you just
time of my
can't
life.
do once a week.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you could.
I was
but
more
you-
just
gonna hurt.
saying.
But you'll never get better at it. Like you
Well,
can
it's
get
the
better
same
at
thing
disc
as-
golf playing once a week.
That's true. That is true.
When you first start the game,
golf too, right?
Because it doesn't.
when you first start golf, yeah, if you play once a week, you're gonna be better than if you don't play at all.
Have you gotten, like in your mind, how much better have you gotten since you started your quest? A month
Well,
ago?
we have to remember when I first started, I shot a 70. Right?
What?
Our first video.
What is the?
I don't know.
Did you?
What's the video that's going to be?
Did you shoot a 70 your first time?
60s, yeah.
I think he was up there, upper
Yeah.
60s.
Well, I definitely know. Like you took a 10 or something.
15.
Right? Oh, you took a 15.
I had him hitting a draw yesterday.
The question now is,
at the
well, I
range.
mean,
I promise you, he was hitting
No, you
absolute
definitely have gotten better.
monster
Yeah.
draws.
Yeah, he's definitely gotten better.
that's what I'm saying. I would not by any means claim I'm good, but
But I
you
also
can't you
wouldn't-
can't look at me with a straight face and say I haven't gotten better.
No, you've gotten better, but I also would say that you haven't played once a week.
No, I played more.
practice a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if I played once a week, I'd be better than if I didn't. If I do anything in life once a week versus not doing it at all, I'm gonna get better at it.
How long though?
That wasn't the question.
No, but how long?
Yeah, the difference
how
with
many
CrossFit
weeks?
is your body, like
How
the
many
whole
weeks
sport
do you
is
need to get
dependent
better?
upon your body like staying in shape.
How many weeks?
But that's
do
what
you
I was
need-
saying is CrossFit you can't really just do
Right,
once a week because
right.
you're
But if
never
you
gonna
did-
get better at it.
If you did bowling once a week,
Yeah, you're gonna.
How
You're
many-
gonna get better.
If you bowl
So
one
the
game a
second
week,
week- You're-
Incrementally better.
the
You're
second-
better the second time you do it than when you haven't done it at all. Yes.
really?
yeah.
Incrementally.
I think I'd bet you money on that. I'll bet you Blizzard.
Well, I mean,
But I'm not
if
gonna
you
play-
just-
So,
like,
if you
if you
just
bowl-
bowls, if
if
you
you-
just
I don't-
bowls
the
twice,
thing
the
is-
That's
odds,
what I'm saying. If he
it's a
bowls,
toss-up.
if he
It's a
bowls the
toss-up.
first week,
It's a
and,
toss-up.
and then the next week he comes out and he bowls again,
I would
you're
say
gonna
by
tell
the-
me that
I
he's
would-
100% going
what
to
do
be
you?
better.
I
What
would
do
say
you?
by the
No. What are
third
you?
week,
What are you
though.
judging better by?
Your score.
Then no. I'm gonna get better, but it might not always. Results don't. If you play disc golf every single
That's-
round right now, you're getting better
That
every
is-
single
I mean,
round
that
you
is
play.
somewhat true. Like
No.
you might have better technique, be a little
True.
more used to it that second week.
But you might not
still,
score better.
You might not score better.
Score
It's like-
doesn't show
I think
your
that's
skill.
that is what I was trying to ask is when do you actually look and get better?
like when do you start
Like
scoring.
when do you actually like how long for bowling would you be to be where it's like I've done it once a week for 6 weeks. I am now drastically better 6 week than I am.
I
1
don't
week.
know.
I think if I went like I
Well,
think
that's
if
the
I
question.
I
I'm
think
just
if I
saying.
bowled,
I'm
I
just
think
saying
certain-
6 weeks in, you're gonna be better, but you might not be able to. You might the
There's
first
certain
week
sports-
bowling. Well, all I'm saying with CrossFit is like you're physically not really gonna be able to lift that much more weight if you're only doing it once a week.
Yeah, so like 6 weeks
you
into
give
CrossFit
me 4
versus
weeks in
the
a
first
row
week.
bowling, and I think that 5th week I'm a lot better than I was the first week.
But like you could
Like I'm
realistically,
probably bowling.
If you're bowling one game,
I'm
but
bowling.
you could realistically
game a
that
week?
6
I
game
think I'm bowling
bowl
at least
worse.
20 points higher than the first week on the 5th week.
Sure, but you also could realistically do worse, even though you are better. Same thing in disc golf.
If you maybe because I would choke because I'd feel the pressure.
The pressure.
But that's what I'm saying. If
but
you have, if
actual
you show up and
skill-wise,
have one
I don't
chance,
know. With bowling,
It's like golf.
Cornhole would be a good one too. If you did like an hour and a half of cornhole once a week, like 5 weeks
golf is a
in,
little more like finicky though than bowling. Because like bowling, it's like
Sure.
by that 5th week, I'm gonna be good at throwing and hitting either the middle pin or like the 2 on the
Yeah.
outside every time.
the
Whereas-
swing in golf is way more complex.
Whereas the
than
first
a
week,
bowl.
I'm gonna throw a gutter ball probably.
yeah,
So,
I'm
like,
just saying that
I'm gonna
you
objectively
can get better at something and not score better.
yes
Because
It's
there's
just
a lot-
different from sport to sport. But
Yeah.
golf is like the
CrossFit,
best
what I was
example.
saying, I don't even remember what my original point was, but like CrossFit is something where if you're only doing it once a week, it's gonna be really hard to get better at in general. You might have better technique,
You're gonna get
better
better
form,
technique,
but it's
but-
gonna be hard to lift more weight because your body is only doing it once a week.
Yeah.
It's something where you physically have to get stronger and stuff, so you need to do it multiple times a week. Whereas like bowling, you don't need to physically get stronger. You just
Bowling
need to
has
like
always been
get
my
a feel.
what if sport, where it's
how
like
good you get.
yeah, because it's a sport that every time I play it, I'm like this sport to get to like an okay level where I could be bowling like higher 100s towards 200. I think it wouldn't be crazy difficult because I think I could do that just learning how to throw consistently straight down the middle, even.
Weird things when you start getting into like wax patterns and spins.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I always thought, like, if I were to just start bowling, because I know kids who are relatively athletic that, like, got into bowling a little bit and just immediately get way better. Because
Realistically-
you just never practice bowling. Like, you play, like, every once in a while.
No offense to disc golf, but it's kind of like disc golf.
kinda like disc
where
golf,
the top
yeah.
of bowling aren't peak athletes. They're not like crazy superhuman
just bowl a
athletes.
lot.
So if you have someone who is a crazy
But they also
athlete,
know what you're saying with like the oil slicks and spin. And
No,
stuff.
yeah, they know
It's the
that.
same thing as disc golf. As soon as you start like understanding, like, oh, this disc is going to do this.
Absolutely.
This is. it
But I'm just
gets,
saying,
so much easier.
someone who is crazy athletic, if they are able to pick up bowling and dedicate bowling, they're going to be able to get good at bowling faster than someone who isn't athletic at all. So if the top of the sport in bowling aren't crazy athletes, someone like LeBron James, if he just dedicated his life to bowling, he would be
Well,
able to
I
easily
think there-
repeat the motion.
I think there's
Might be
also
too
there's
big.
also a cap though.
Sure.
I think where like
I'm just
athleticism
I
doesn't
picked
matter
I
at a
picked
certain
an
point.
athlete. But I'm just saying like there's some sports where the superhuman athletes haven't got into. And so like
And probably won't.
probably won't, but like
we're trying to do that with soccer still in the U.S. and that's a huge sport. We're
Yeah.
still trying to get our best athletes.
there's
in
actually a
soccer.
question we had on debate night. Is the MLS's goal
Oh, yeah.
to become as big as the Premier League?
I actually wrote my research paper in college.
Oh,
on
heck
MLS.
yes.
On this?
on
Like,
on the projections for the MLS and
what's the MLS's goal?
Yeah, like are they trying to?
What do you?
Because we were basically saying like we were talking a little bit just to give context to people on debate night.
You're saying, is there a goal to become like the Premier League? Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Like, do they want to be
do
the
they know
soccer
that they'll
league?
never be?
So
they'll
the
never have the
American
best players.
The American sports model is different than the European sports model. The American sports model is a business where they want you to buy this team, and then it's run like a business. Because the biggest difference right now, really the only thing that holds the MLS back, other than history, from the bigger leagues is the salary cap. The salary cap does not exist in European soccer. That is the reason why billionaires buy teams and buy all the best players, and there's less parity. The American sports model is built off of, and also there's relegation. So imagine you trying to convince an American sports owner, a guy who's typical to that landscape, we want you to buy this soccer team. They're going to start out not that great because we're going to do, like, you're going to have to get all your players. And then if you're bad enough this season, you're getting relegated.
Yeah,
you're going to have
drop.
less TV money. Like, it's such a different model.
Okay, so don't think soccer then. Think like.
Well, no, just the MLS. Like their
they're-
long-term goal. Are they
But-
trying to become the league
No.
in soccer?
Well, no, if they're
No.
doing that,
They're
because
trying to
making-
become their
But the
goal.
question is how is the NBA, who also has a salary cap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say theoretically a new basketball league is created in Asia and they don't have a salary
There's actually
cap.
a perfect example of this right now. Have you heard about the Saudi tour, the PGA?
Oh yeah.
So right now
okay.
there's this new tour.
Isn't Bryson playing in it, or is that
He's
fake?
been offered
They've had a
$100 million
couple- they've had
a
a couple-
year,
yeah, they've-
guaranteed salary to play on this. Phil was offered $30 million. So there's that question of, where's your prestige versus the money? Because like you're right. They tried to do this in soccer to an extent. They tried to make a super league with all the richest
I
teams
heard
in
about
it,
that.
and it got blocked off. And kind of the only thing that had it getting blocked off was one team, Chelsea, led the charge and kind of took a stand for the fans because the fans were boycotting it.
Had to be
super hard.
Chelsea.
Well, then other teams followed along, and like that was what kept this intact. Because at what point, like there has to be a point where the fans, like right now,
the fans should have the power.
right? So right now, if the NBA, if the thing happened where like another basketball
Some
league
Asian
came
tour
along,
starts and they start paying LeBron $100 million a year.
right?
And
The only thing that could stop it would be the fans and their boycott
and being like, we're not going to
and
watch
ruin
that.
basically the athletes ruining their public perception with the fans. MLS, their goal is
Just
just
kind of fear base. Going back to
the
last week's
MLS's
episode.
goal at this point right now is to just be the number one league in the U.S. because number one, they don't compete. Like a lot of motivation for top players, other than the money, is to play at the highest level. And right now, you don't play in the Champions League if you're in the MLS. You're not going to play in the most prestigious.
If I'm a young kid, let's say I'm 18, I'm not good enough to be signed by any Premier League or anything like that. So I end up at the MLS. Is my goal to leave the MLS to go to the Premier League?
Yeah, you're trying to
Like,
make
that's
it
your
Europe.
life goal?
You're trying, like, our best players right now, a lot of our best players on the U.S. team, a good bit of them made their way from the MLS to Europe.
So how
Now,
does
I will say this.
MLS hold those players, or do they don't care?
Do they
Now,
just wait till
like,
they
they're-
retire and
they're-
like?
So
their
the
motto is,
reason,
"We
the
don't care."
way that the MLS has been able, first of all, the MLS has grown a lot to the point where it is not like some low league. Being in the MLS is a big deal. Like the MLS has a draft out of college. Maybe like if you get picked in the draft, even in the top 3 overall, you might not even make that team. It is very competitive. Like there are lower leagues, many lower leagues in Europe.
I
than
did
there
see a
is
kid yesterday
in the
practicing
MLS.
soccer when I was at the Frisbee practice. I don't know how good their team is, but he was doing stuff, and I was amazed. He probably is like...
Oh, well,
Liberty's
the
team?
Liberty's team is. I mean, they're Division 1.
They used to be solid. I
But
don't
I'm
know if they
still
still are.
saying,
Decent
like,
team.
in this scheme of, like...
No, and that's the
when
thing
I
is, like-
watched him, I was like, this kid might be...
What-
This kid has to be the best kid in soccer.
So what Major
He
League
was doing
Soccer?
stuff with, like, his little footwork and stuff. I was just like...
What
this
Major
kid's
League
disgusting.
Soccer did to try and get themselves even like into the scale, like get themselves on the with eyeballs of the more fans, was to they did a new rule, and it's called the designated player rule, or the David Beckham rule is what people call it, because they created this rule because they wanted to sign David Beckham. And now each team is allowed to have, they may even have 2 now, but each team is allowed to have at least 1 player that does not hit their salary cap. So it allows them to sign
get some big boy.
that slightly retired legend like Zlatan Ibrahimovic
Yeah,
a few years ago for a competitive salary that doesn't hit there.
Who was the first? Was it Beckham? Was the first player that was like
Beckham
that?
to LA
super
Galaxy
high?
was the big one.
'Cause now-
Pirlo came over at one point. You had Kaká went to Orlando City. So that's kind of something they've done. But as long as the model is the way it is with the salary cap, it'll
can't
never
compete.
be on that level.
Whatever happened to Freddie Adu?
He was a bust.
Yeah, I saw him play for DC United. I watched DC United play Manchester United.
Yeah, he was a bust.
Wayne Rooney was there. It was
He was
great.
supposed to be the next greatest thing. He got drafted number 1 overall in the MLS draft as a 15-year-old.
Yeah, he was filthy.
Have you seen?
That was the only soccer game I ever watched.
Have you seen that video where
Freddie
it's like,
Adu made him look stupid.
where it's like the 50-year-old grandpas playing against the U.S. women's team? Have you seen that video?
No.
But the crazy thing about the MLS is like there's a reason, like
These grandpas were balling.
there's
out
a
of
reason
control.
that NBC, like our network,
Brody, one
has
day
to deal
we'll
with
get
the
you a real
Premier
mic
League,
stand.
not the MLS.
One day.
There's a
One
reason
day.
that there's like Stan Kroenke, the
Well,
guy
next
who
week might be over
owns
there.
the Rams. He bought Arsenal, not some MLS team.
Yeah.
like that's where all the
Well,
popularity
we were just talking
is.
about like if a European disc golf tour started.
Yeah, that was the whole
What's
idea.
keeping players at in the U.S. tour? How does this keep happening?
It's
Is it
literally
me?
just the fans. It would just be
Because the
fans.
thing is like he was saying that like
it
the
me? Am I
European
the
tour
drama?
needs to happen like soon, and I was saying
That'd
I
like,
be a
was saying-
dangerous game.
No, I was saying if it's gonna overtake the
if
pro
it's
tour.
going to overtake, but
it
I was
needs to
saying
happen
like
soon.
even I don't think the disc golf pro tour is going to be like we were talking about. The PGA Tour has so much prestige that guys would be like, oh man, like it's gonna suck not playing in all these events, and I'm playing this Saudi tour, right? Because I don't think the disc golf pro tour has that yet. It has a little bit.
I was talking more just sponsorship, like where the eyeballs are.
No, but that's the whole reason why like some of these guys aren't like Bryson isn't just saying, "Oh, you're gonna pay me $100 million, I'm signed."
Right.
Is because there's all this other stuff that comes with the
well,
PGA
it's also
Tour.
like when you're talking.
I don't think the disc golf pro tour is even near that. So I think even in 10 years, a European tour could start and say, "Hey, we're giving out $100,000 to the winner of every event,"
especially when
and people would go.
all of a sudden if they start getting way more fans of those European events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Is like, it'd probably be a lot easier for a national broadcast European contract than a U.S. contract.
And you
right
guys
now.
know better too, because you obviously have seen the past of like disc golf tournaments. All I've seen is when like the national tour basically went away, it didn't look like anyone cared. So that leads me to believe that if like the European tour started and was popping off and every player decided
People
to
would-
leave,
yeah.
there'd be some fans that would be pissed. 'cause
Fans
they
would
can't
care
see
because
in
a lot of
person.
Well,
But the
not
people
the
that-
in person.
Forget
We
European
mean not
tour.
in person.
The issue with where fans, the U.S. fans right now would be pissed would be the time. You can't watch it live. You can't keep following
But
an
that's
event
still
live.
such a small audience. So many more people.
It
This
is
is what we
true.
talked about. So many more people watch posts.
It is
Sure.
true.
So they
Sure.
literally would just wake up the next day and watch.
Sure.
It is a crazy concept. I mean, yeah, and then like, well, even like the pro tour has established themselves right now, but even in the U.S., if another tour came up right now, another U.S. tour, and
Yeah.
the money was there,
The
there has to be
yeah.
so much prestige
The,
for
um,
a tour to like be able to hold that over players.
Because the Disc Golf Pro Tour doesn't have USDGC. It doesn't have Worlds.
No.
And
Yeah.
those are like the two most prestigious events.
Well, I will say though, back in the day, the European Open, ever since COVID, we haven't got to see it. So, and I don't even know if we'll get
It's
to see it
always
this year.
most well attended event.
But yeah, back in the day, like 2015, you feel like disc golf here. You're like watching this, you're watching Worlds. I forget what order it happened, but you're watching tournaments here, and they felt big watching them here. And then the European Tour, European Open would
Fairways just
happen,
lined.
and you'd be like, "Holy crap!"
yeah.
yeah.
Like it looked like basically in 2015 European Open, unless my mind's playing tricks on me, looked as well or better attended than 2021
Worlds.
Pro Tour and Worlds.
There
event.
were certain holes where you would look and like it would be a 600-foot hole and the whole fairway is lined 2 people deep.
They had like a massive like scoreboard
Yeah.
up on by the 18th
It's legit.
green.
It's legit.
When players would land,
They're
they'd
supposed
have.
to bring the President's Cup back this year.
We should talk about it on grip locked.
Yeah,
Oh well.
they're bringing the President's Cup.
Assuming
back this year.
assuming
If they
COVID
do.
allows it to
How
happen.
do they do we have any idea how they do the picks in that?
It's going to be so they're not releasing the rosters until the year-end world rankings come out for the PDGA.
So it's going to be all world rankings.
Yeah, so it's going to be.
I still don't
ratings-based.
understand why
But
it's called the
PGA
President's Cup.
World
It should be called the
Rankings
Queen's Cup.
What did you say? Queen's
Why?
Cup?
Poor
it's
guy
in
doesn't
Europe.
understand it. It's not always in Europe. It's supposed to be a rotating event.
Are you
I
a
was just-
jester?
Yeah.
I was just making a joke because they don't have presidents. Like that's how that joke worked. Just in case you didn't understand it.
So are we talking about
It's also not in
Rogan or
England.
what?
The Ambassadors Cup.
Where is it?
The Prime Minister's Cup.
Prime
in
Minister's
Finland.
Cup. That's
You talking
really
about
funny.
Joe Rogan or what?
What does Finland have?
I'm
What?
lost. Finland?
What? Yeah, like what
Who's
is
Joe?
their person?
I don't
have?
understand the joke.
What's their
You
title?
don't know what Joe Rogan's like under fire the last 2 weeks? Have you
Yeah,
not been
what
paying
does that have to
attention
do with the President's Cup and the
I was
Queen's Cup?
segueing to a different topic.
Oh,
We're
Oh,
not
we were
talking
still on.
about
We were
that.
still on this topic.
Yeah. No, I don't know who the
don't look at me
President's
like
Cup
that.
team would even be. Right
That's where KJ USA got his nickname. Was the
Yeah.
President's Cup.
They do
Sick nickname.
They do match
Like
play and then
JK
stroke
USA.
play and then points. And the last time they did it in 2019, the U.S. team got crushed in stroke play, and then they just dominated match play and came back and won.
It was fascinating.
If I make the team, am I BS USA?
You have no chance to make the team because they're going to release the rankings
Oh, and
in
it's 2
March or
years.
April. It's every 2 years, yeah.
Oh, I'm screwed. I'm out.
Yeah.
Unless I win every
USA.
event.
You gotta
two
climb those
events that
PDGA rankings
yeah, the
quick.
2 events that they have between now and then.
You got to climb.
All right. Sick.
There you
All
have
right,
it.
see you guys later. We're not going to shoot another podcast after this, so I won't see you after this.
Oh.
What?
What?
Wait,
That was just a joke.
Oh.
I was going to say, we're about to do the
Because we always like get up and leave, but like everybody knows we're just going to sit back down.
They don't know that.
Oh, they don't know that.